Today I intend to swap over these road style dropper bars for these mountain bike style flat bars. And this is the slight twist to the story. At the end, show that my system will be able to be changed over within minutes. Okay. The spoiler is it will be using my own invention, the TinkerLink cable connection. But with that, show that there will be a relatively large amount of freedom in changing over bars quite quickly, which is a quest I have for trying to change the cycling industry. Anyway, I will break this down into 3 sections: the consideration, then the components, and then lastly the installation. Or should I say better, doing homework on compatibility. That also depends on how you're going to change over handlebars. If I was to permanently change over from the dropper bars to flat bars, I think I would probably end up changing the rear derailleur as well, and that way I don't have issues with the pull ratios of the levers. But as it is, I want to be able to interchange the dropper bars and flat bars, which adds another level of compatibility complexity. It's a bit of a mouthful. So to that end, I'm actually quite lucky. This bike has come with a Tiagra 4700 series group set, 2x10. I think it's the 4720 because the levers are hydraulic. Shimano also provide, I think they stick the prefix SL for flat bar levers. Okay, so I managed to get the 10 speed on the right side and the 2 speed on the left side. And as a bonus, the Shimano hydraulic brakes, a pair of them cost me €14 new, which I think is an absolute steal. They were supplied without the hose or any brakes. I intend to recycle what this bike came with, cutting them basically around about the top point here. And so in theory I have 2 families now that are interchangeable, depending on how I can get both the cables and the hydraulics to marry up. So I think that means that I need to move on and show a little bit better the parts I'm actually going to be installing on this. So I need to consider what to do with the brake hose line and the gear cables. So in the top, what you can see is I've chosen the Enfox emergency brake line connector. You can get really nice cable connectors, couplers should I say, with valves built in, but I can't afford that. So this unit I think cost me about €5, and as you can see, basically it has the 2 sides and a middle component like a bridge, and the cables, or the hoses correctly, go in each side. Thing I've got to think about as well is what happens when I have the bars set to one side and I'm not in use. The fluid will need to be contained in some way. So what I've come up with is this. Found another bolt, different colour to help me identify that it's only going to be used for sealing up the end of the hose, and a I noticed that the ball bearings I use for a bottom bracket form a very nice seal if basically just hand screwed in into the bridge unit. So that's what I'm going to be using when the devices are off the bike. As it is, this bridging unit will be probably permanently attached to the cable, or the hose, sorry, coming away from the road bike drop bar lever as an extension, whereas this one will be able to attach directly to the actual brake lever for the flat bar model. So hopefully I've got that sorted. And the bottom here is my TinkerLink mechanism. This one is a 2x that I printed off. It has like a cradle to locate it underneath the handlebars. I've actually got these grommets that will help to keep it on, just to keep it in place. And if I digitally open it up, you can see we have the actual coupler mechanism. The cable coming from the gears actually will be permanently screwed in, and these, I think they are cable ends for motorbike throttle cables. These will be attached to the lever side going off and located in these little sort of holes, and if I can slot it around, and can slot in and out, so they'll be removable. And so hopefully with a combination of these two systems, once installed, I'll be able to swap out the bars within minutes. That's the idea, at least. So let's see if we can put these pieces on the bike and get it to work. Yeah, the fun part. Right, action time. Let's see if I can get these cables cut. So the easier ones I'm going to start with, which are the hydraulic hoses. Effectively all I have to do, in theory, is cut them and then seal each end inside the bridging unit. So let's see how we can do that. No going back from here. Looking at it, basically I figured out I need to have maybe 25mm, and yes, there is fluid in it and it will spurt out a little bit probably, but I reckon about around there will do for me. Make sure that doesn't spring out. Then we're done. There we go. Painless. I do have one of these, which I'll use now to put in these little pins inside each of the hoses. So let's see now. Right. I've only used this once before. So the little needle goes in like so. The cable then fits into the vice unit. I almost forgot. We have the cover for the mountain bike lever. We also need so I have to unscrew it. The actual bracing and the seal gasket or whatever you would call them. Okay, so all that has to go on first. Then, if I can just shove all those down a bit. Right here. What I'm going to do is, if I can get the bolt in. Incidentally, I've covered the main body in a bit of heat shrink. So obviously the correct spanner doesn't fit anymore. To stop the put the heat shrink on to try and attempt to reduce scratching on the bars. Right. Maybe it wasn't a clever idea. Right. Okay, well, we're in for that side. Pop that out of the way. I did sort of have everything planned out. Of course, yes, the other side is on the other side, isn't it? Right, so pop this little one on as far as it will go. Right, back on course. Just spent 5 minutes trying to find the little seal. Does that go on? Right. Now I've got the room. Okay. A bit of alcohol, and then just offer it up to we're done. Right, good time. Yeah, we're on. Obviously I think this will need a bleed afterwards. I think it needed a bleed from new, but yeah. First one on. Maybe I'll actually rearrange the cables further down afterwards. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Right, next one. That's in. So those two are done. Again, I think I'll place those slightly more underneath. And that leaves us with the cables now. Let's just swallow with some alcohol. Does one work? Yep. Again, I'll be bleeding off these, but there we go. So we have now the cables ready to interchange. Now we need to go for, the hoses. Now we need to go for the cables. So setting up the TinkerLink, first thing I'm going to do is put the top part on the bars. This will help me line up, line up the where the cables need to be cut. So I don't lose everything on the floor. There we go. Right. Okay. That's where I want it. So now I have to undo the cables at the gear ends and thread the cables out so that I know where to cut. What I don't want to do is thread them all the way out, because then obviously I'm going to have to try and thread them back in again. Let's see if we can do that. Let's leave the hoods. Is it in there? Oh, there we go. Turn it around, you see. So popped it out here. Let's see if it'll come out nicely. Nicely greased, brand spanking new. Oh, too late. Anyway, TinkerLink system, I've found that you need to allow a little bit more cable just to give it some movement when necessary. I'll put the back one going at the front and the front one going at the back, because the front one needs to go around a bit more, I think. Think about there. Yeah. Do it. There we are. Very good. Ooh, sticking in already. Not bad at all. Okay, using my old, it's like a leather needle, make the hole. Now, can we get the cable to go back into where it should be? No, it's popped out the other side. I see. Right. Come on, baby. This is another reason why I want to do the TinkerLink system. Threading through the gear cables on road levers all of them have their quirks. Okay, finally got the cable sorted in here after using a magnifying glass and torch. So it's in. Amazing. Yeah, 2026, and that's what we have to do to get the cables in. Right, so with the cut I've also put a ferrule on, and now I need to calculate more or less where to cut this to apply the little throttle end, motorbike throttle end. So what I'm going to do actually, so this has gone through the walls trying to get it through everything. I'm going to actually pop on, it's so small. I'm going to pop on the little cable end. I have to gingerly unscrew the grub screw. Doesn't matter which way round. What matters is that the whole cable can work its way through. Here we go. Right. Look at that, tiny. What I'm going to do now is take it to the end. Am I on the easiest gear? Yeah. I'm going to move it probably about 4 to 5 millimeters. And just put on a... Right, so I'm not going to... Right, that's as far as it's going to go. Pull it out. Okay, so that's the maximum movement. I'm going to give it... do it. I'm going to move it just a couple of millimeters. No, actually, no, do you know what? I'm going to keep it there. So it's the first time I've done it on this system. We're trying it together. I'm going to cut basically as close to it as I can. It's about 4 millimeters. I'm going to a bit more actually. Okay. Now I'm going to move this up till the actual cable just maybe a bit too far there. It's just got to say hello on the other side. Right. Need some help here. So being left-handed, it's not the easiest of things. The camera in front of me. So anyway. Give it some weight. There we go. So that's in place. Now the other side. Goes like so. And as such, it was the body side cable, of course, is always going to go to the same place. So now I'm going to see how much I need to cut off. Possibly that much. Just make sure it turns around well. A little bit more. There we go. Oh, there goes the spring. Not the most polished display, I'm sorry. Right. Yeah, go for it. Is that? Yeah. Okay. So, same cable, two purposes. Let's pop a ferrule on it. Now a new cable, sacrificial cable. I should really look for a cable that's been chopped and use it better, but hey, new build, new cable. I hope it's stainless steel. I'm not sure whether it will be or not. I've got so many coming through the system. Right, so let's get the gear cable unwined and pop it through. And there we go, the ferrule at the other end is gone. Now then, this one's going to be sacrificial. It's a real shame, but it has to go. Off with your head. Gone. Now then, with my, if I can show you, my designed cable connector. It's got 2 grommet screws to lock in well. Actually designed so it could, in theory, handle brakes. And we can pop in the cable. Goes all the way through until it pops out into the little hole here, and like the other, just needs to go in. Lock it down. Okay. Now lock it well down. And what will happen is the slack can be taken up at the gear end. So all we need to do now is take our little oh, come on, there we go. We got previously done clutch connector. Make sure the ferrules fit on. Oh, they'll fit on soon enough. And then with that in place, what I have to do is lock off on the rear gear, and this now effectively works as one cable, and the connector behaves like a shuttle inside the container. So all I need to do now is repeat the same for the left side, for the front derailleur, and we're ready to swap off the handlebars. Yeah, I've got to say, the best thing to do is try and manipulate well the first bars, and if possible the dropper bars are the best, because they're the most complicated because of the way the cables come out. So first of all, establish the connection points if possible with dropper bars, and then you can move to the flat bars. So I'm just going to finish off doing the other side. No point repeating the same process, bit boring. So I'll see you when I'm ready to swap over the bars. Okay, a little while later, and everything's put in. Okay, redone the cables for the left side, so the front brake and the front derailleur. So everything's in place. For now, I've put the hydraulic brakes behind, but I could quite easily put them in front as well if I want to. So now I'm ready to take everything apart to put on the flat bars. So step by step. First thing is to unscrew the TinkerLink box. Almost there. I can disengage the cables. To do that, I'm a bit cheeky really. For the back, I usually put my foot on the rear derailleur and push to make it slacker. I can change up the gears and then slacken off, but I find that's the easiest way. And then literally just unhook the front one. I just quickly pull on it. That's ready to go. And with that, I can take off the casing, he says. Yeah, I lost my gloves. Right. Now it's a matter of unscrewing the yeah, done. A little bit of seepage. Wipe it off. No, it's not going anywhere. There we go. With that, we can take off the bars. And there we go. Bar 1 done, almost. Time for bar 2. So, half the work has been done now. We have the hose pipe almost ready. It should just file into the existing brake levers, and we just need to use a bit of cable to extend the gears through to the TinkerLink box, and then we're ready to go. And we have a system which basically takes minutes to change over. So if you have a series of different gears, bars or whatever, you can quite easily change them over now. Oops, over tightened here. Right. It is very important that with the initial setup you get exactly the right angle of attack that you desire with both the gears and the brakes, because just a slight rotation round can change the cable lengths, and you'll end up having the TinkerLink box turning up or down too much compared to what you would desire. Okay, so let's see if my plan comes right. Worst case, I would have to have a little bit of tube here with an extension on, but hey, live on screen. Let's have a look. Yeah, also of course you could potentially swap over your brakes from left to right as you desire. brake 1. Tab is. I don't know whether they're full of oil, but I'll do a purge anyway. Okay, they're empty. But anyway, I'll have to come back to them and fill up. If this was an electronic system, there'd be no need to do anything else. I mean, it's a 10-minute job changing cables. You could equally do it with the more elitist sorry, have to do one thing at a time. You could do it also with the more elitist valve system, in which case everything would be easy, but there you go. The brakes are now fully functional. I've rearranged slightly the position for the levers. This is really important, particularly for the TinkerLink system, because the length of the cables which I then did for the gears, they have to be in tension. Okay, if there's any play in these cables, then the actual wire inside the cable itself is going to be playing around, and you're not going to get the correct response. You can correct it a little bit with a tensioner, which now will actually effectively be tensioning just the first section. It won't tension correctly the part of the cable going down to the gears. You will lose that capability. So something to bear in mind. And as you can see, the previously cut cables coming in from the body, they do tend to have this arc. That might be an issue for some people. And it's important that that arc, of course, is going through in a way that it goes through to the gear lever. So if I wanted to swap over the mechanism, I would have to try and swap over these cables in the body to come out correctly. So certain issues can arise when trying to perform this procedure. So anyway, what I've done also is I didn't fully remove the cables. I opened the port at the sort of inside back, and I pulled them out almost all the way, just enough. I then correctly measured up and cut the outer housing, and then I put the cable back through. And I'm actually still pending, I don't know if it's, I'm still pending having to, if I can take this one out, yeah, it comes up, to pull the cable fully through again. I'll do it right now actually. Oh. And you might have noticed I've changed over to the plastic ferrules. Oh, fall off just as easily because the metal ones just seem to be too open. Let's put that back on again. They do slide off just as easily. They're not very good quality, but hey, nor am I. So a bit tedious. Going to measure the cable once this is plugged in. Going to measure through to around about where we have the placement. Actually, yes, of course, placement for the little throttle cable end, which I'll put on now actually. In fact, we can find the hole, mark the spot, and cut. Right. Okay, let's get it located in. Now, I've actually lowered the angle of the camera a little bit to try and help you see this absurd process a little bit better. Okay, that's well and truly on. Okay, now, oops, let's just push the rear derailleur a little bit with my foot. And as you can see, that ferrule is not having a good time, is it? Right, a little while later, it was a little bit more complicated than I thought. The plastic ferrules and the cut end of the cable just were not compatible, so I had to push more cable through. Luckily I hadn't cut any at the back, and then snip off the corrupted end and replace it. So yes, a good idea is not to cut your cables before full installation. I've also done the same for the front derailleur. So all being well now, with the back one, this has been pre-cut, and I've got the little, what should we call it, the little end here on the cable ready to go in. So we just lock it in. There we go. Then place the lever end first, and then after that I'm going to push the rear derailleur, and it's in place. So thanks for the little notches I've got inside, they're not going to go anywhere. So now I have to do the same with the front derailleur. Right. Release it off. Come on, ferrules, behave yourselves. There we are. Right, so cable inside for the lever first. Bit of a tight push, the second one always. In we go, come on. So I'm working a bit by feel. There we are. Let's move the derailleur, get a bit of slack, and we're in. Hey presto! All I need to do now is put on the bottom part of the body to the TinkerLink mechanism, making sure that the ferrules are behaving themselves. I 3D print in ASA. I've got a very cheap Elegoo printer, but it does the job just right. Good enough for me. And the ASA is UV resistant, and it's pretty tough. So there we go. Do we do it? Yes, that goes. That goes. So we're all on. Here we go. I have now flat bars ready to try out, and indeed afterwards I can then revert back to the drop bars as and when I like, and the two can be interchanged within minutes now, because basically I just have to unscrew the hydraulic hose, put them back into the points for the brakes, and the gears, just change the interlinks. So yeah, it's not for everyone, but if you're changing over mechanisms, it's actually quite effective. And then if anyone's seen my videos on the 3 Pro devices, these units here, they are actually cable to hydraulic brake adapters. These are fantastic if you have a system where, if you see my Stache conversion, the Trek Stache I have, it has a very good SRAM gears, but then it has Shimano XT brakes. So to get over that, and with any complications you might have with hydraulics, these convert the cable pull of normal levers. In this case, you see here I've got the Chinese Sensor Empire levers, which are basically compatible with SRAM gears. They have cable activation for brakes, but with this system I can go, if I can pull it down, this system I can go fully hydraulic down on the body of the bike. So yeah, this is an option. Economically it's on another level because both the brakes and the converters, they don't even come to €100, which is cheaper than having hydraulic brakes. It's more open to variation, and boy oh boy, another planet compared to the electronic setups these days. So that's an interesting way of installing, should we say, your lever conversion. Well worth looking at the video. I'm afraid they're not perfect, but they give you an idea what is possible. And also these adapters, they do actually come with some stoppers. They come pre-filled, and they have some basically plastic bolts with a seal to prevent the fluid from coming out. So an added plus. I can't find these on sale anywhere, hence having to try and find my own way of sealing up tubes when they're not in use. It's not a normal use of hydraulics, but we do exist. So there we are. Time to give this a go. Right, mission changing over handlebars successfully done, and unlike most others, I will be able to revert back as and when I wish within a few minutes. So you can see down here, if I can get it focused, here we go, we have the TinkerLink Duo box in there handling the gear cables, then the Shimano, if I can get it focused, MT 200 hydraulic brakes work great. So yeah, so my gravel bike can convert into a lightweight XC bike. And if you've noticed, I've got no pedal. Yes, I'll show it up. This 18-year-old Crank Brothers pedal decided that, I think it's the retaining washer or something in the front head here, is actually literally disintegrated. So it means that the spindle, you can see that, is free to move in and out, and as such seized up. And I didn't notice until it literally fell off taking a chunk of the aluminium pedal with it. So there you go, not even a month old and I'm already having amazing issues. So there we go. Yes, my Frankenstein bike has turned even more into a Frankenstein monster. But yeah, next ride I think I'll swap back and get some more pedals. Oh dear, trials and tribulations when you're trying to get things invented. Amazing.